Have you ever wondered why one person can completely ruin your peace without even raising their voice? They don't need to shout. They don't need to argue. They simply exist, and suddenly you feel drained, anxious, and unsure of yourself. You replay conversations in your head. You second-guess your worth. And the worst part? You start believing that maybe you're the problem. But let me tell you something Mel Robbins once said that changed everything. You can't control someone's toxicity, but you can control your participation in it. That's what this is about. This is not about cutting people off impulsively or pretending to be unbothered. This is about mastering the art of emotional discipline, so that no one, no matter how toxic, can steal your peace again. Today I'll share 7 stoic yet powerful lessons inspired by Mel Robbins that reveal the smartest way to deal with toxic people, so you rise, not react. 1. Emotional chess. Stop playing their game. Toxic people don't argue to find truth. They argue to win, and once you understand that, you'll stop engaging in their emotional chess game. Let me tell you about James from Los Angeles. James worked with a colleague named Eric. Charming on the surface, venom underneath. Whenever James achieved something, Eric would downplay it. When James stayed silent, Eric would provoke him. And every time James took the bait, every argument, every attempt to defend himself, he lost peace, focus, and confidence. One night he stumbled upon a Mel Robbins clip where she said, "The moment you argue with a toxic person, you've already lost. You've entered their arena." That hit him like thunder. He realized toxic people thrive on reaction. Your anger feeds their ego. So James stopped playing. He started saying less and doing more. He stopped explaining his decisions, stopped defending his emotions. That silence made Eric uncomfortable, because for the first time, he couldn't manipulate the board. And that's the rule. Stop playing their game. Change the board. When you withdraw your emotional participation, you win without a fight. 2. The emotional echo. Don't absorb their energy. Energy is contagious, especially negative energy. You might think you're just putting up with someone, but over time, their emotions start shaping yours. Rebecca, a teacher from New York, had a friend who always complained about her job, her relationships, her life. Rebecca listened, comforted, and advised. But eventually she noticed something strange. She was waking up anxious, angry, and drained for no reason. That's when she realized she wasn't just listening. She was absorbing. Mel Robbins said, "If you're always exhausted after being around someone, that's not a friendship, that's emotional theft." Stoicism calls this guarding the mind's citadel. You can't stop the world from being loud, but you can decide which echoes live inside your head. Rebecca started setting emotional distance. She didn't argue. She didn't attack. She just limited exposure and redirected conversations toward growth. And slowly she got her energy back. That's the second rule. Don't absorb their poison, reflect it with calm. Because every time you absorb, you lose. Every time you reflect, you grow stronger. 3. The disconnection decision. Cutting cords without guilt. Most people stay trapped in toxic relationships because they fear being seen as cold or heartless. But detachment isn't cruelty, it's clarity. Ethan, a man from Manchester, grew up with a father who constantly criticized him. Even in adulthood, his father's words haunted him. Every phone call turned into emotional warfare, guilt, blame, manipulation. Until one day, Ethan heard Mel Robbins say, "You can love someone and still decide they don't get access to you." That sentence liberated him. He realized his love was real, but it didn't mean he had to sacrifice peace for connection. So he made the disconnection decision, not from hatred, but from self-respect. He started limiting calls, ignoring guilt traps, and setting emotional distance. And within weeks, his mental clarity returned. That's what Stoicism teaches too. You can't heal while standing in the fire. Letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's realizing some people belong in your heart, not in your life. 4. Silent mastery. The power of no reaction. Here's a truth Mel Robbins and the Stoics would both agree on. Silence is not absence. It's dominance. Toxic people expect you to explode. They thrive when you yell, defend, or justify, because as long as you're reacting, they're controlling the narrative. But when you respond with silence, true, unbothered silence, they lose control. Let's take Emma from Toronto. Her roommate constantly provoked her. Petty comments, Emotional jabs, unnecessary drama. For months, Emma reacted. Then one day she stopped. She started smiling calmly and walking away. No energy wasted. No emotion spent. Weeks later, her roommate started changing because Emma's silence became a mirror, forcing her to see her own chaos. Mel Robbins calls this not reacting to insanity. Stoics call it indifference to externals. Both mean the same thing. You control your energy by mastering your reaction, because sometimes silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. 5. The boundary blueprint, rebuilding respect. Boundaries are not punishment. They're instruction manuals for how others must treat you. Toxic people cross lines because you never drew them clearly enough. Andrew, a 28-year-old from Chicago, learned this after years of being the nice guy. His friends always called him last minute, borrowed money, and disrespected his time. He thought saying no would make him look selfish. Then he found Mel Robbins' quote, "If they get angry at your boundaries, that's proof you needed them." That day, he made his boundary blueprint a list of what he would no longer tolerate. He stopped explaining himself, started saying no without guilt, and stopped apologizing for protecting his peace. At first, people resisted, but the ones who truly cared, they respected him more. That's how boundaries work. They filter out the users and attract the genuine. So build your boundary blueprint, and remember, your peace is sacred architecture. Protect it. 6. The inner mirror, taking accountability without shame. Now here's the twist, and sometimes toxic people enter your life to reflect your own unhealed patterns. Mel Robbins says, "You attract what you tolerate." And Stoics believed, every difficulty in life is an opportunity for self-examination. Take Olivia from London. She always attracted manipulative partners, charming at first, controlling later. After her third heartbreak, she stopped blaming and started reflecting. She realized her people-pleasing came from childhood, from never wanting to disappoint anyone. Toxic people sensed that weakness and used it, so she did the hardest thing. She faced herself. Therapy, journaling, solitude. She rebuilt her self-worth from the inside out. And when she changed internally, her external world followed. Different friends, healthier love, and above all, in peace. That's the inner mirror. Sometimes the smartest way to deal with toxic people isn't confrontation, it's transformation. 7. The Stoic exit, leaving without noise. The final step, and perhaps the most powerful is mastering the art of quiet departure. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to make a speech or prove your worth. You just walk away, silently, firmly, completely, because the loudest statement you'll ever make is peace. Mel Robbins says, "You don't owe closure to someone who broke you." Marcus Aurelius echoed it centuries ago. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The Stoic exit isn't dramatic, it's disciplined. It's when you stop fighting for attention and start fighting for peace. When you leave quietly, you don't just walk away from the toxic person, you walk back to yourself. And that's when the healing begins. Conclusion. Toxic people will always exist. They'll disguise themselves as lovers, friends, family, even mentors. But remember, you have a choice. You can either keep explaining your worth to those committed to misunderstanding you, or you can choose peace. You can choose boundaries. You can choose growth. Mel Robbins said it perfectly. You can't change someone else, but you can change the way you show up. That's your power. That's your freedom. That's the Stoic way. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.